It's just not. It's not going to be pretty. And if they don't do that, if they start breaking laws, then they're,
That's right.
Inevitably, something bad will happen, and then it will be their fault.
That's true.
And because there'll be full records of their car and how fast it was going, and all that shit. And it's like some big company you can sue, and they're evil corporations, and you're just like a person, people, not corporations,
That's right. Man. They are not.
You know.
And by the way, I'm spinning up the live show here. We're just gonna get things rolling. We're just kind of greasing the skids, letting the people get into the chat and stuff. And so this will be sort of our, you know.
So I don't have to do this hangout thing. You're just gonna tell me everything.
Yeah, no, we're good to go.
Okay.
So we'll give you your cue.
What is that thing? What does it do?
Oh yeah, it's
we already started. Oh, you already started?
Yeah, we
already started.
We're rolling. Yeah, but it's okay. So Hangouts, just like this Chrome thing that you click on a link and then it's Skype. So basically you just talk to people. But we got you on the phone, so we're good to go. I think.
Okay, I'm happy. So are we live now or not?
We're on the air.
We're live.
Okay.
But we're not really. This is just the pre-show now, so we're just kind of shooting the shit. So. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought 7:15. It's 7:15, man. 7:70.
It's 7:14.
What is this thing? What is it? Oh, it's 14. Oh, okay. I guess my my computer's kind of fast. I do that because I'm always late. Okay. No, my cell phone said 7:15. So.
So I've got YouTube up here. I don't know about you, Mark.
I'm publishing all the links. I'm almost done.
All right, good. So we just have a few more things, and then we got a few people that are excited to be in the chat tonight. Maybe ask a few questions. So we'll probably probably ask you a few questions from the viewers, so to speak.
Yeah.
So Mark, you're looking sharp. You got the $6 million T-shirt on today.
$6 Million Man T-shirt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well.
Oh man.
Excellent TV show. Yeah, I'm taking 1981 out.
Was that an 81? I thought that was like
78.
I thought that was a 70 thing. Was it still going?
I think it ended somewhere in 80 or 81. I know the Bionic Woman went on for like another year or something like that.
Yeah, she was a short-lived show though, wasn't she? She had like a year.
I don't know. She changed channels. It was awkward.
Year and a half, and then she was done.
She did a transition.
Yeah.
Kind of screwed things up.
Like all of a sudden. Yeah. Instead of it being in the 40s, it was in the 80s, and then they used the same guy for Steve Trevor, and they were like, "Oh, I'm his grandson." I'm like, "Bullshit."
Yeah, right. Wait a minute. Are we talking about Linda Carter and Wonder Woman now?
The same character Steve Trevor is in the Wonder Woman movie, so we'll see. I bet you they do the same thing with, it's Chris Pine. He's still alive. No, he's not. It's his grandson.
Well, and
the only thing I remember about that show was this is $6 Million Man. Is like when he would do like he'd just like it was kind of like the Hulk or something. He'd kind of like get pissed off and like do his thing, and he'd start like running at 1,000,000 miles an hour or something. And they had that kind of ching 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 sound that when he was like getting it on and running 100 miles an hour or whatever the shit he did. And
there's a property that needs a game.
What's that?
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Well, I think I'll leave it to those 2600 guys, man. They're still active, man. That'd be awesome, man. That'll be awesome, man. The full-on VCS, 5-pixel, $6 Million Man. That's gonna be.
They'll figure it out too.
I can do it in 8K.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
So are we ready to roll?
That was amazing.
Are we ready to roll here already? You think?
Yeah, you can hit the start button, dude.
So let's get this show on the road, huh?
Play that music.
All right, here we go. Wait a minute. So, we gotta. Are we sure we're ready? Because we got a few people in the chat.
Who's in the chat?
Well, we got Andy Baldwin in the chat already. Dan Copeland in the chat. Yeah, Mike Martin's in the chat. Aaron Sanders in the chat. I mean, we got some peoples. And I know there's a couple of people going to show up in a little bit. So, we're ready to
All right.
Here we go.
Live from KOYR Studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota, this is Arcade Radio. Intruder alert, intruder alert.
Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 21 of the Arcade Radio Podcast. Today is Thursday, June 28th, 2018, and the time is now approximately 7:19 p.m. Central. Thanks for joining us in the car. Where are we again? Oh, yeah, the Arcadosphere. This is your host, Adam, Fofadam, Fee5, and I'm joined by my legendary co-host, Mr. Mark, Time Runner Shields, and the guest host of Arcade Radio this week is Eugene Jarvis. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Mark and Adam, man. What's up?
Man, it's good to have you on the show. This is awesome. I mean, I was, when you might have been on our list for a little while, but thanks for picking up the phone and having a little chat with us tonight. It's pretty cool. So.
Hey, it's always a thrill, man.
Well,
it's great to be here.
Yeah, that's good. So, our first segment, we usually talk what we're working about. I guess what we're working on. What's your name, Mark? Why don't you give us a shout? Tell us what you're working on.
Okay, stand by. Here we go.
Okay, here we go. Well, wait a minute. Maybe let's set the scene for people that don't see this right now.
Yes.
There is a Stargate machine right behind Mark, and it's beautiful.
Vintage.
It's vintage, and it's all original.
Yes. Original cigarette burns,
and it's running.
On each
and
side.
It's running.
It is. Well, of course it's running. I mean, it may have a switcher on it, but whatever.
Oh. Hey, man, that's cheating, man. That's cheating, dude. It's like no resale value, man. Come on.
The power is power, and I'm pretty sure the linear is running the coin box lights.
That's funny. All right. So anyway, Mark,
numbers got to match, man.
They do. Yeah. The switcher does not have numbers on it. I can tell from here.
No.
Okay.
I can add some on there.
So what are you working on there, Mark?
Let's see. I finally restored my turkey chute. I finished it. The only thing I have left to do is there's like a coil for the feather box. I don't know if you know turkey chute very well, but
it's in your office.
It's kind of a Robotron ripoff.
Oh, really?
You kill a wave of turkeys, and then you're rewarded with some feathers blowing up in front of your face.
That's great.
Yeah, that was choice, man. I wouldn't think it. I don't think it has anything to do with Robotron, but the feathers were cool, man.
I definitely wish I had two joysticks. Like, it would be cool to shoot and move around.
Oh yeah.
Which I think you can do, but it's the gun, and then the gun is your joystick. Right.
So that is that the only thing you're working on?
No, I also picked up a ladybug and it's weird. It's in this Dynamo cabinet before Dynamo made generic cabinets. And so it's got it looks like a little hustler, but I don't know. It's very strange. It was in some dude's garage for 21 years or whatever. So
that's pretty cool.
That was super fun. I guess that's it really. I mean, I spent a lot of time with the turkey shoot. So a lot of stuff with turkeys. I even bought these. Show you. I bought these turkey feathers to put. So these are special turkey feathers. I tried to get blood red turkey feathers, but it didn't work. Can't see them as well.
Oh, they don't.
And that's what I'm working on.
Excellent.
Sweet, man. That is. Man, you're tight with your classics, man. That's pretty awesome.
I know.
I mean, is that maybe the only working turkey shoot in existence?
I know, right?
There's a couple.
15 or 20 of them.
There's a couple, yeah.
Yeah, I know they made 500 allegedly on paper.
Wow.
I think 498 of them were converted into poker games or something.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, those were the days.
Well,
no, I found mine in mine was originally at a arcade in Minnesota in the 80s called the Slim Jim or something, or the Slick, I forget what it's called, but it was like a multiple story arcade. And then somehow I got stuck in a garage in Princeton, Minnesota that went out of business, and it was empty. Nobody was in the garage for 20 years, and then somebody bought it and found it.
There was.
St. Cloud, Minnesota was where that arcade was. I'll look it up later.
Jeepers.
Good times.
Time capsule, yeah.
That's kind of what this show is. It's a giant time capsule.
Yeah.
What
are you working on, Adam?
Oh man, I haven't. I mean, like last week I had a party, and so it was very busy. First, it's the second arcade party of the year, which is a lot for me. But a couple of guys had such a good time. They bought me a tin sign to go in my collection. So I have this VCS joystick tin sign that they bought me. It's pretty cool. So it's nice of them. I'm gonna hang it up there somewhere. And then today, the sign fairy dropped another sign off at the house. Apparently, the Golden Valley. I live in Golden Valley, Minnesota. The Golden Valley Historical Society retired a bunch of old street signs, and they retired Olympia Street, which is where I live. So I'm giving away a lot of information right now. People want to find out where I live, but anyway, a friend of mine bought 2 of the signs for our block and gave me one, so I'm gonna hang it up in the arcade. I think it's gonna look pretty cool with all that stuff that I got on the walls.
Wow, that's cool. Man. Do you have your do you have your coordinates for a drone, little drone bombing over there?
Exactly. I live at precisely. I'm so easy to find. That's like I'm the only Adam Coyer in the entire United States. So if you look me up and you do any homework, you'll figure out who I am. But again, appreciate my listeners. They don't do stuff like that to me usually. So
in Golden Valley, I mean, have you guys? I mean, I don't know. Down here from Chicago, it's just been, I don't know, it's fucking rainy all the time. I don't know what it is. And I was wondering, do you get golden showers in the Golden Valley?
I always make fun of that every time I go by there.
Well, as a matter of fact,
Shower Valley. It takes a special guy to live in Golden Valley.
Oh, that's hilarious. I am not sorry about that first ad I posted. So let's move on to Mr. Eugene Jarvis. What have you been working on? And we would say in the hobby, except for you got like a whole business to run. So
yeah, we just finishing up, and it's still a little bit of work in progress. So we're working on. This may be certainly is one of the largest arcade games ever created.
No.
Maybe certainly in the top maybe 3. And it's this new. I'm sure maybe you guys have heard about this. We did this Halo game.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's called Halo Fireteam Raven, and it's a 4-player like cockpit type thing. You gotta go on to YouTube or something if you want to take a look at it, and it's also going to be at Dave & Buster's for a couple of months exclusively, and then it's going to be anybody that is stupid enough to buy one,
So they're like what, $6,000?
It's pretty crazy. So it's got like 2 65-inch screens like put together. It's like a super panoramic type of thing. It's like, so it's like a huge, it's like surround vision or something, like one of those crazy panoramic type of things. And so essentially it's like an 8K type video. And it's just crazy. It's got all really cool Halo stuff. Microsoft just did an incredible amount of work with us on it, and we got a new story, and it's I guess based on some events from parallel events to I think Halo 1 and stuff that was happening on the ring when I guess Master Chief was doing some other stuff, and this is like the ODST guys, and anyway, it's pretty fantastic. I wish I could show you a video right now, but go on to YouTube and just Halo Fireteam Raven.
Sweet.
And it's it's like about 11 feet wide, and it's like 11 feet in diameter. It's kind of circular kind of thing, and it's pretty wild. So we're getting at we still have to do some revs on the software and trying to figure out how to build the damn thing. It's we're kind of getting in this dinosaur age of arcade games where it's kind of the rise of the mega arcades, and the games are getting bigger and bigger. We last year we did this giant Space Invaders game with like a 10-foot screen, LEDs, one LED a pixel, and then we did a giant Pac-Man game. And
that was awesome.
It's excuse me?
The giant Pac-Man game is awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And but it just, it's like when you're pixel, it's a pixel perfect, but each pixel now is a full-on LED. So it's just like so bright, it almost, I don't know, it's kind of, I think it's kind of sucks you in. Like, I think human beings are attracted to shiny objects.
I would agree with that. Totally.
And so you just get sucked into it. And but anyway, so this Halo thing is kind of the next iteration of that.
Okay, so Eugene, I'm going to have to make a request. I'd like to have tinted doors, and you need to make sure like a couple can fit in there.
That's right.
Yeah. No, there's two couples. So this is a menage a quatre. It's so you got two couples. This is for the millennials, man.
So they get to hang out and they can fist bump next to each other while they're playing.
That's hilarious.
The millennials.
I just played a clip of that for you while we were doing the show, so people got to see it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so
cool.
So people that are interested, that's going to be really cool, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably the most crazy thing ever. I mean, the guys, we have two studios at Raw Thrills. We have the Raw Thrills studio, and then we have a studio called Play Mechanics, who probably most famous for doing the Big Buck Hunter game, and all the versions of that. And they also recently did a Walking Dead game, pretty awesome. And but this Halo thing has been their work for the last few years, and I don't know. Somehow it got kind of out of hand, and we were kind of we were worried maybe nobody wanted to buy it, But I guess there's suckers born every minute. So
oh heck yes.
So it's kind of it's like it is going to get out there. I hope they're able to make the payments on it.
Make back your budget.
Exactly. So that's why there's going to be some really pissed off operators. Yeah, I'm not going to give them my address. That's for sure.
Right. They can always write you at Raw Thrills.
Exactly. So, but that's anyway. We're finishing that up. We got to make some tweaks on the software. So,
fantastic.
We're very excited about that one.
Very cool. So that that's that kind of, I guess, maybe leads us into our next segment.
Well, partially because we used to be three guys.
Oh yeah.
We had a third guy named Dan, and he doesn't call anymore. He's not our guest host anymore.
Yeah.
But what we do now is we call him on his phone to see if he'll pick up.
Like once a week.
Okay.
Yeah. It's pretty fun. So here we go.
Fun.
You gonna call him?
We're gonna start.
All right.
Yeah, let's
just see if he picks up.
Sure.
He
might have a question.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice message.
Straight to voicemail. Jesus.
That definitely sounds like he.
It's like he knew we were coming.
We're calling.
You guys you guys are stalkers, man. This is.
Damn it, Dan Reed.
He used to be our co-host, so it's not that big of a deal. Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, what?
Oh my God!
You got him.
He picked up.
I'll answer what.
Holy crap! You're on the phone with Eugene Jarvis, dude.
Hi, Eugene.
Dan, man, I thought you gave the guys a hook, man. What's going on here, man? You're regressing. I mean, Jesus.
Of all the days you pick up, it's when Eugene Jarvis is on the phone.
Well, he's a living legend, so how can I say no to that, right?
All right. Well,
I just put a picture of him up on the
continue.
That's great. So what are we gonna do now since you picked up?
What's Dan working on?
What are you working on?
I just funny you should mention that. I just got out of the garage from stripping down a scramble.
Oh, nice. Oh, I've got a tie-in to Defender on that.
Oh, go
stripping down a scribble. Is that Is that like pornography or what?
Sounds like a good thing, right?
Is that illegal? I mean,
I'm stripping down a scrambler, boy.
Yeah, well, the garage door's closed. So.
I think Scramble was the first game to have a side-scrolling playfield. But
what the fuck? Wait a minute. Defender was before Scramble. What the fuck are you talking about? They ripped me off. They fucking ripped me off, man. Like.
And then Defender comes along and does it 18 times better.
No, but we were before Scramble.
Were you?
Yeah, like a year or something, man.
Wow.
Like, get your history right, man.
Yeah, what the heck?
Get your fucking history right.
What are you looking on a MySpace page over there?
I was looking on Wikipedia. Somebody changed it. I'm sorry. I don't know. They ripped me off. That's freaking awesome.
No, that was a cool game. I mean, I thought it was. They had better graphics, you know. But it was. It didn't. I don't know if it was. I mean, to me, that was like I call it a wallpaper game. You know, I don't want to be down on it. I mean, it was a great game and everything, but
well, it's decent.
You know, it's like when you're competing against other people, you got to like, trash talk their games. So anyway, it was you could only go in one direction. And
right.
Which is bullshit. Which is bogus.
Yeah, it is
bogus right there.
Yeah.
And then you're like, it's like wallpapers. It's just like you're just kind of playing to see the movie, and
right.
Which I guess kind of like the modern games we do today. But
no, there was no AI. There was no the monsters didn't jump around and come after you. You couldn't. I mean, it was a much different game. And you're right. It was just
very deterministic. Yeah. I think the AI, and back in that day, the AI we had, it was more like artificial stupidity than artificial intelligence, but at least it was playable, you know. Right. But yeah, so it was a different kind of thing. It was kind of a pattern. You kind of memorize the pattern, and
sure.
Defender was more. I like to consider it like more of a free will kind of game.
Now, here's the thing: Defender was released in 1981, right? And
no, 1980.
80.
Dude.
See, there we go.
1980.
I'm just gonna hang up now. It's very sad. Very sad. Yeah, 81 was not Defender. That was
Stargate.
Stargate.
Or
right.
Defender Deluxe.
Right. Defender
right.
Deluxe.
Whatever. Yeah. Exactly. I guess somehow they lost the name.
Well, Defender's on
10
it.
Years later, they got sued and they can't call it Stargate anymore for some reason.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because there was some book called Stargate or something.
It was featured in News Radio. You remember that show?
Hey, I was an actor, man. In fact, what's crazy?
Yeah.
Huh.
I was like delivery man in that show.
What?
In that scene.
In that episode?
I was like delivery man number 2.
Nice.
And, dude, this is the coolest thing is I get like these checks from them to this day.
Oh, really?
To this day, I get checks from the residuals of that show.
That's awesome.
And
what are they, like 16
my latest
cents?
check, which was for the first quarter of 2018, was 57 cents.
Nice. It cost them more money to send you the check.
Dude, 57 cents, man. So I'm a Hollywood star, man.
Going to the bank.
I'm a Hollywood star, man.
That's hilarious.
It's cool, man. That's two games of Robotron, man, right there.
My God, that's awesome. Well, we got a hold of Dan. Are you going to hang on to the show? Or are we going to have to send you the link so you can call in on your computer, or what?
I said.
Yeah, I suppose I can do that for you guys.
Right.
Just let me finish what I'm doing here. Actually, if it makes you feel any better, Eugene, I'm actually turning the Scramble into a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, pal. So.
Yeah.
All right, so email me the link and I'll jump on in a few minutes, boys.
All right,
Thanks,
Mark will
bye.
send it to you. All right.
Thank you.
That's hilarious. I can't believe he picked up.
That's awesome.
After all this time. So let's do the news segment before he gets on.
Yeah, that used to be his segment. So
that thing is horrid. It's horrid. I can't imagine people are using it, but whatever.
It's the Arcade News with Adam Stevens.
Well, it's old news is good news with Gary Gnu. I think we just dug this up just because you're on the show today. Back in 2016, there was a guy by the name of Tony Temple who did a little article on the unveiling of a brand new Robotron machine. So in 2006, someone stumbled across a warehouse in Gaston, Vancouver that had effectively been sealed shut around 1983. And I think this is just interesting to share and see your comments on it, Eugene, because I'm told the place was known to be a collector's, but the story of new games stacked from floor to ceiling was regarded as sort of an urban legend. Some enterprising person took the initiative to find out more, so it turned out the owner of the place was a Dale Johnson of Dale Distributing. He was one of Canada's earliest pinball and jukebox distributors and retailers who later branched out to pool tables and things like that. So Dale Distributing started out with an exclusive distribution right in Canada for Wurlitzer and several manufacturers of pinball machines, including Williams, Gottlieb, and Bally. And in the world of coin-operated vending, Dale was the godfather of Vancouver. So in the 60s or 70s, if you had ever put a coin into a machine for a gumball or a song or a pack of cigarettes or just about anything else, then you probably did business with Dale. So when Wurlitzer closed for good and the video games effectively replaced pinballs, he moved into that market, simply following the trend. Inside the warehouse were discovered 7 floors of barely touched or brand new in-the-box arcade and pinball machines dating from the mid-70s to the 80s. Again, this goes back to 2016. This isn't quite current. So
this is crazy, man. Well, I mean, how did this stuff not get sold or something?
I know, right? So
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah,
7 floors of this shit.
They unveiled this thing. Someone bought this thing, and I have a Robotron cocktail myself, but this was a brand new machine unveiled in 2016. They unboxed it in 2016. How does that even happen?
Well, it's like a vault in there,
right?
And there were just
amazing.
Only 1 or 2 bodies as well. So
yeah, exactly. Just had to shove them off the box and rip that tape off. All right, so
I that guy in Vancouver, wasn't he like grinding him and feeding him to the pigs though?
Yeah.
Was that the same guy, or was that
well, just the heads?
Yeah, exactly. I'm not entirely sure about that part of it. So here's a question for you. There was a cocktail, there was a cabaret version of Robotron, and there, of course, was the uprights. And obviously, you designed the upright, but what? Actually, tell us about how you ended up with the design with the two joysticks on the upright.
Oh, on Robotron?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a big fan of an Intruder Alert, Berserk, which is in your intro sequence. Man, I was like, oh yeah, that's so cool. The Intruder Alert. Anyway, so I loved that game, but I just hated it because of, I guess one problem. I guess the joystick was an optical joystick, and which I guess was supposedly, it was one of those new maintenance-free, never breaks wonders of electronics that we've all, seen, and they always break and they don't work.
Right.
So it was very frustrating, and the fact that it was just, and you always had to kind of move toward the guy to kill him because you had to aim with the same joystick you're moving with. And somewhere along the line, I kind of got the feeling, I got the idea of how can you be independent? How could you have an independent control, of shooting and moving? And that's when the concept of a second joystick was.
So was that cabinet built from the ground up, or did you hack a cabinet you had at Williams and just throw her in?
Yeah. So, and I guess actually interesting that at the same time I had, when I started, trying to work on this game, I also had broken my right hand, so I was kind of semi-disabled. So I also couldn't use buttons, so it was kind of like the joystick was also a natural thing in that area. But so what I did is I got 2 Atari 2600 joysticks and got a piece of plywood, and I drilled holes in the bottom of those things. And it's kind of weird because you take them apart, and it's kind of weird. consumer products are just really not made to be, repurposed too well. But somehow I was able to drill a couple holes in the bottom of them and screw them into this piece of plywood. And so I had 2 VCS joysticks screwed down on a piece of plywood, and that became the first Robotron control.
That's hilarious.
And it was pretty amazing. It was and actually originally Robotron was going to be like a non-violent game. That was my initial idea. It was
going to stun all the robots, or
you would negotiate. You'd
splash water on them.
Listen, I got $5 in my pocket. You don't shoot me, I'll let you pass.
It's like, can we talk? Can we talk? It'd be like Joan Rivers would be the mediator. Like, can we talk? Can we talk? And
Die, human.
But it was this game. I don't know. This is really weird. Now, I was at the MGC in Milwaukee, and I couldn't believe it. They had like 4 or 5 of these Commodore PET computers.
Yeah.
And there was this game that ran on the Commodore PET. It was called Chase, and it was like this character game. I haven't seen it in like decades. I don't know if this game even exists anywhere. And the idea was like you had these. I think they were like pi signs that were the robots. I don't even know what they were, but I was assuming they were robots. And they would kind of seek you like the grunts in Robotron. They would just kind of come at you.
Sure.
And then the idea was you would make them collide with an asteroid. There was like asterisks out there, and you'd collide with these asterisks. So you could kind of like, they would chase you around, and you could guide, because they're always going after you, you could guide them into these asterisks. So that was kind of the original mechanic, and you still see that in the grunts and the electrodes in Robotron.
Sure.
And so that was kind of ripped off from this game, Chase.
Interesting.
Which was a character-based game in the mid-'70s something. And I don't, I have not seen this game in decades. And I tell people about it, and no one even remembers it.
But you can play it at MGC, which we have talked to Dan.
It wasn't. I didn't play it. It wasn't. I was telling people about it. They didn't know what the fuck it was. They had PET computers there, but they weren't running them.
But we should try to figure out how to get that game.
So maybe you guys could because that is kind of the root. That's kind of Robotron, and then you kind of add Berserk in that, and it's like the thing is, if you want to create like a really good original idea, you have to steal from like more than one place. You got to like steal 2 or 3 different things and then put them together, and then it's now original.
You take the elements that you like and you create something new from it. I don't think that. I mean, that's natural, right? I don't know.
Exactly. I think that's the way everybody works. I mean, that's how you like crossbreed things, And so I think that's how new things get created. Is that's one form of it. Is you crossbreed different games, and I mean, Defender was kind of like a cross between Space Invaders and Asteroids.
Yeah.
Because the right hand you were playing essentially an Asteroid Fire, and then the left hand was kind of the Space Invaders turned sideways.
Yeah.
And so it's I always think it's been a big thing of my that I've loved to do is try to you kind of mash up things and create new things with pieces of old things. It's kind of like you take a car apart and you
Well, I mean, even Ralph Baer.
Lawnmower or something.
Even Ralph Baer, right? He creates Tennis for Two. He basically creates Pong, right?
No. Tennis for Two was actually that was a game he ripped off. Yeah.
So that's what my point is, right?
That was not his game. It's funny, like Ralph Baer. I mean, I love the guy. I guess he's God bless his soul.
Yeah.
And he's always had this bone up his ass because Nolan Bushnell ripped him off.
Sure.
And everybody remembers Pong. They have no idea like what was Ralph Baer's game.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't even know if it had a name. It was called like table tennis or something.
Yeah.
But Tennis for Two was done by some other guy. He was in the like worked for the government, Brookhaven National Laboratory or something. I think Higginbotham or something.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was like Wally Higginbotham or something.
I'll look it up right now.
Get your Wikipedia out.
Yeah, we're gonna fact check you. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Anyway, some guy did that, and that really was the first Pong.
Yeah, it was developed in 1958. 1958.
And nobody remembers that guy at all. You know, it's kind of like
by William Higginbotham.
Nolan Bushnell was the guy that created Pong, and Ralph Baer was the guy Nolan Bushnell ripped off.
Right.
Wally Higginbotham was the guy Ralph Baer ripped off.
Exactly. That was sort of my point, right? Like Tennis for Two was sort of Ralph Baer's ripoff game, and then if you even go down to William Higginbotham, who you're right, 1958, he simulated the game of tennis, which is basically he took a game that already existed.
That's true. He ripped off tennis.
Right. So I mean,
it's like
the creative element comes from I mean the innovation is there, obviously.
Exactly. It's making something cool. It's like, who knows where it came from?
Right.
It's like,
right.
I guess they're suing Ed Sheeran now for this song.
Oh,
they
sure.
said he ripped off Mark and Gaye's "Get It On, Let's Get It On," or something.
Yeah.
And maybe he did, but it was a great version of it. I mean, you gotta give him credit. I mean, it's totally different words. I didn't have I listened to the song for a year. I had no idea this was a ripoff of "Let's Get It On." So maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know, but it's the guy's brilliant. Even if it was note for note, like I didn't notice it, for years. So it's like, give the guy a break,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Music is one thing, but you're right about that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get our second news article in here. I'm going to take this. This is very interesting.
It is very interesting.
So, game over for Richie Knuckles. A legal arcade shuttered before opening in Long Hill, and this comes from NewJerseyHills.com. And a world record-holding arcade gamer was weeks away from opening a vintage arcade across from Central Middle School, somewhere apparently in New Jersey. There was just one problem. No one from the township knew about it. So Richie Knuckles had moved about 60. He was on our show too, so we like this guy. He's
Richie is he's a great guy.
He's kind of a character, right? So So he had moved about 60 classic arcade and pinball machines into the basement of an old library building at 91 Central Avenue. He had a soft opening in late May. The event was chronicled in a 46-minute YouTube video, which revealed the interior of the building to be filled with the sounds and fluorescent lights of an arcade, which we all can appreciate, I think. So, as well as a number of gamers. So, a tenant in the building, Knuckles had planned a grand opening in July. That is until last week when the township officials caught wind of the plans through a YouTube video. And the arcade, they said, had failed to submit any kind of application to local land use boards, a requirement for any change use, and even notify them of existence. So zoning enforcement officer Thomas DeLise said, "Hey, this arcade is not permitted for use in that zone, nor is it permitted anywhere else in the township. I've encountered these things before," he said, and in a Friday, June 22nd phone interview, he said, "But this is not to this extent." So apparently he was appalled by the number of games, which actually is kind of awesome. So good on you, Richie.
Well, I mean, I think the good township guy, I mean, he's protecting America from the scourge of video games. I mean,
right.
My God.
Where did these laws stem from? I mean, we had LaGuardia in, the destruction of pinball machines and the outlawing of pinball machines in New York City until 1974 or 76 or something.
Richie should just put together $2,000 or $3,000, find this guy where he lives, tie it to a brick.
Oh, there you go. I think it's kind of a tragedy. I think it's bizarre. I mean, it's like, we're in the era of, like the everything is legal. Smoking pot is legal.
Right, exactly.
It's like, and like you can't even play an arcade game. And there's, I would say probably half of the towns in America it is illegal to have an arcade. And like, I mean, it's more illegal than gambling.
Right.
And the crazy thing is, I mean, it's insane. And
by the way, there's no dancing in those towns either.
I mean, but I think originally back in the '80s, I remember, when arcades were, when they were just mass mayhem. And I mean, there was a lot of teenagers in these places, and
right.
and we all, as all our, good town councilmen and stuff. I mean, you don't want teenagers around. I mean, that's bad news. And so, and like, they're probably, God knows that they're probably, drug dealers and who knows what, at these places.
Well, that
and
was actually,
so
that actually happened. It did happen. It did happen.
If that's yeah.
I'm just saying it did.
Yeah, but it just happened. And it's like, but the thing is, if that was a criterion for shutting down places, then why don't they shut down all the public schools?
Right.
I mean, they're full of teenagers, and they're a fair amount of them are selling drugs or doing drugs. I mean,
And they're probably playing games in those schools. Like, I've seen those little paper footballs.
Right. Well, I mean, no, they're playing games with their smartphones. And this is a crazy thing. These schools. I mean, I don't know who's running these schools today, but they give all the kids, the school's like, oh, we have to be in the future, like we are visionaries, so we're going to give every kid an iPad in the classroom, and because we're like future visionaries. And like, is any kid even listening to anything, They're just, they're fucking playing Angry Birds or, Candy Crush or Dota 2 or,
oh my God, you're right.
Fortnite or whatever. I mean, nobody's even, they're all tuned out. I mean, there's nothing going on in these schools other than playing games. They are essentially arcades, right?
That's very true. It's very true.
So they should be shut down also,
Hey, we got a question. We got a question in the chat from Chaz's Arcade Gameplay and Restorations. He says, "I have a question for Mr. Jarvis. Do you go by Mr. Jarvis?" So he says, "How crazy was the backlash from Narc?" So remember Narc?
Yeah. That was kind of crazy. We're trying to, I don't know. It's the same problem we have today. It's like, there's so much shit out there. How do you create some kind of buzz about your game or your thing, and so people would listen to it? It's like,
sure.
There's all this noise out on the media. There's a million channels and everything, and so the Narc thing, we wanted to be kind of an edgy thing, and I guess it's kind of like it's about busting drug dealers and stuff. But just for some fun, we decided, blowing up, inviscerating drug dealers with rocket launchers and stuff, And I guess we had some blood and some killer clowns and some other things. So we kind of pushed the envelope. And the amazing thing was there was some we had some bad press. I think the Philadelphia Inquirer wrote an article about it, and some other. There was some press about it, and that only helps it. And but it was it was kind of a fun thing for its time. Certainly was maybe the first game that really had some crazy violence. It was digital video, so we took real actors. I mean, to me that was the funnest part of the project. It was real actors, and so rather than funky cartoony animations, which was the rage in those days. We had real actors doing real performances, and it was funny. It was real. It was very alive, and I think certainly a forerunning game. Certainly later games like Mortal Kombat or NBA Jam kind of use that same 2D digitization technology, and actually we still use that for some of our games, mixing that in with 3D. Imagery and stuff, because you get that human performance that no amount of motion capture or modeling or anything can duplicate a live human video performance. And so we had a lot of fun with that, but it was a little bit crazy. But the weirdest thing is, like, no one really adults never went into arcades, so I don't know if anybody really noticed that. The very few people. So the only time it really blew up, the whole violence thing, was when Mortal Kombat came out, and not in the arcade, but when it got into people's living rooms.
Right.
When Mortal Kombat came home, that's when that ignited the firestorm that created the ESRB, which is all the game ratings and all that stuff, and did all that, which I don't think has changed things. I mean, games are, this stuff is, as gory, or, it's makes Snark look like Child's Play. Some of the FPSs today. I mean, it's almost comical that it's kind of like a city council shutting down an arcade in 2018 to save the morality of the world. I mean,
right?
It's just, I don't get it, man. I don't. It's weird. I was like, why are we? We're still, like I said, I think in my hometown it's illegal to have an arcade. Also, I think it's half of America. It's illegal to have an arcade.
Where's your hometown?
Glenview, where I live right now, Glenview, Illinois.
Oh, you live in your hometown? That's awesome.
No, I mean that's where I live. It's not where I was born.
I see.
But it's my current home.
Excellent.
But no, you can't have an arcade. It's like, I don't know. What are we saving the world from? It's like, it's
right. Right.
Whatever.
Impressionable neighbors.
Yeah, I guess who knows, man? It's the scourge of people actually enjoying themselves or something. But I mean, come on. I mean, it's like, have these people been on the internet? I mean, like.
Exactly. I mean, basically everybody with a computer has an arcade, so every house.
Or a smartphone. I mean, you could shut down any coffee shop because people have smartphones and they're playing games.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
Whatever.
So that should bring us to our next segment, I think. So.
Okay.
Back in '82, I used to be able to throw a pigskin quarter mile.
Back to the cave with Time Runner.
Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
There is a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull. It's pulling us back to June 28th, 1981.
81!
That's right.
Turns out 81 is mixed up in my head as far as like certain.
Yeah, it's an important point in the arcade.
I'm just saying.
Temporal.
I might not know
timeline.
everything. I'm just
Well, let me tell you about four things. The first one, as far as the arcade stuff, according to legend, the Vid Kids were breathing their own farts.
What?
A faulty HVAC system back on this date.
Oh my God!
Feverishly programmed Defender Deluxe.
He's laughing his ass off right now. This is awesome.
Right. That's right.
We got to hear this story. We got to hear
nothing
this.
worse than that, man.
It is worse than that.
No.
Nothing worse than that. All right, so tell us about this story.
Damn, that's bizarre. It's funny. I think I've used that expression several times in my career. I didn't realize that was in the '80s. It was kind of like I think it was one of those buildings and they don't get enough outside air in, and I think it's probably still a problem today. I mean, it is. I mean, I really think fresh air, oxygen. We could probably triple the productivity of America if we could just, filter the farts from the office buildings.
I know. Whatever they do to casinos, they should do that to every office building.
Right. Get the oxygen. Get the, and you could recover the methane, and use it to heat the building.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, fart fans, they're everywhere in every bathroom. So.
Fart fans. How did we get to this point in this show?
Yeah.
I find it relevant. Anyway, so what was going on? Let's talk about the box office. Like, okay, you don't want to go to work, so you go to the movie theater, right? And so that particular week, For Your Eyes Only came out. British spy film, maybe you've heard of him, James Bond.
Oh my God.
It was the fifth one to star Roger Moore, and it put Mark off its perch.
Right. What was the name of it?
Oh, For Your Eyes Only. Oh, are we playing?
Oh, For Your Eyes Only. Okay.
All I can remember about that is the legs in the ads.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's the best poster ever.
Yeah.
Yes, some more conservative newspapers drew like little shorty shorts on the legs so that you couldn't see.
It's fantastic.
The upper quadrant.
That's important.
Yes.
It's funny. I did a game called Cruising USA, and we had some kind of sexy flag girls that were kind of like starter girls, and I remember I got a letter from a mom who didn't want her son to see that, he liked to play Cruising USA, but so she would put a brown bag over the girl.
Oh my God! Wait a second.
So, I mean, I think there's a concerned mom that's taking action.
I didn't know this. So, were you involved with the original Cruisin' series?
Yeah, no, that was my baby.
That's awesome. Because that's been in a couple of my friends' collections over the years, and Cruisin' World has like a whole Clinton scene at the end.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think actually Cruising USA may also. Yeah, Cruising USA also has Clinton. So it's like Bill was like a recurring theme there.
I love it.
That's awesome.
So, hey, if you couldn't afford to go to the theater, there was always television on June 28th, 1981. It was a slow Sunday night, but it was perfect to kick off a mini-series that nobody would see called The Last Convertible. Does everybody remember does everybody have that one on DVD?
Wait, The Last Convertible? Wasn't that Mark Hamill?
It was probably the last for a good reason.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Mark Hamill?
It was I don't know. I don't know why they decided to put this on in the middle of summer. I guess there's nothing else to do. So it's some World War II coming of age drama about five guys who meet in the fall of 1940 at Harvard and blah blah blah. Nobody cares.
Wow.
5 guys in a convertible? I don't know. That's
well, I think
sounds pretty fun to me.
There's a green 39 Packard convertible at the center of the story somehow. I guess.
Okay. Any like transgender element there? I might have saved the box office of the thing,
It's maybe true. What? Oh, were we supposed to play a clip? Damn it! I always miss the clips. Do we lose Mark? Oh, I hate it when that happens.
Oh, we lost. You can actually lose people in this deal.
Well, the funny thing is
Twilight Zone.
He's totally froze up on the screen right now, which is great because there's a great picture of him up there.
Am I back?
You're back. Huh.
All right. I heard most of you. I think my internet went down for a second.
Oh my gosh, that's the quality of the show.
That's right.
So I was just saying, was there like a link I was supposed to click on?
Yeah, it was the intro to the show, but it was terrible, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay, all right. But there wait a minute, the intro to this. Oh, is this Automan?
The last convertible? You're gonna end up playing it, aren't you?
This is Automan. I love this show.
Okay. Automan.
Okay.
I sent you the link to Automan?
No, but that was the show I thought you were gonna send me. Anyway, okay. No,
all right. What else?
I won't play it. Let's just move on to the next section.
You know what? I only have one question for you, Adam. What's in the juke?
Oh my God.
Hello and welcome to What's in the Juke.
All right, everybody wants to know what's in the juke.
Wait for it.
What?
Wait. Wait. There you go.
All right. Here's the part of the show where we play 10 songs, a little tiny piece of the song, and then we see if Eugene knows what the hell the song is.
Wait. Should we do that first? Okay, so here's the thing. If he says it first, no one else is going to hear it.
It doesn't matter.
All right. We'll have a couple...
I think most of those brain cells are burnt out, so that's okay. We
yeah.
also allow our listeners to guess. So it's a team effort.
And you know what?
Okay, these are like songs from the year 1981.
Yeah,
correct.
Well, yeah, or 90. Yeah, and Casey said he was going to be out here to kick your ass tonight, but I
don't see him.
I don't see him either, and I'm actually a little bit disappointed. And Casey and Dolly are like a team. I feel like we should call them and tell them that you're here.
Okay. I mean, they may not answer at that point.
I'll text.
You gonna text him?
I think we should start the.
All right, let's do that. All right, so we're gonna play the first clip. We got about 10 tracks here. We have 11, 10 or 11.
Yeah, you can get rid of one if you don't like it.
No, I like it. 11 is good. We'll have a tiebreaker just in case, right? So, okay, here we go. Oh, there he says, "I'm here. Bring it." Casey's in the chat. He's just been quietly waiting for this section. Okay, Eugene, we're going to play a clip of this song. It's going to be a short clip. Let's see if you can get it. And our audience is going to try to beat you to it. So here we go. Oh, wait. Can we hear this yet? That's it. I'll play it again. There you go.
it brings like.
Oh my God! Andy Baldwin got Hall & Oates.
Is it really Hall & Oates? Okay, yeah. It's a Hall & Oates. I thought it was like
Casey got the whole thing.
Like,
Casey got it. Hall & Oates. You make my dreams come true. I'll play a little bit more of that song.
Okay, yeah, he got it. Or she got it.
What I want, you got, and it might be hard to handle, but like a flame that burns a candle, the candle fades the flame.
All right, so all right. So next track, here we go.
Okay, now Casey, is that a girl or a guy?
Casey is a guy, and his wife's name is Dolly.
Okay.
His wife's name is Dolly.
Okay, cool.
She's usually dialed in here as well. Right now we have Andy Baldwin, Bronco Billy, we got Daniel Copeland, we got Ty Laurie, we got a bunch of other people in the chat right now. No cheating. And if you're having problems and you think there's any problem, refresh your browser right now because you'll get a better. There we go. So here we go. This next track. Here we go.
Now
Oh man, it's like this one note shit, man.
I know, right? It's really hard. Here we go. Here we go. Play it again.
Now
is that Michael Jackson?
Ty Laurie got it.
Like
Air Supply. Ty Laurie got it with Air Supply. We're just waiting for the song now. So Air Supply and somebody else. Nope, not all of Love, but close. Close. Because
Love is involved.
Love, yeah. Their Supply, not True. Guys using the.
Okay.
Yeah, Air Supply. Everyone's getting Air Supply. Night Has Gone. Bronco Billy was close, but that's not it. Yeah, he got the lyric. Should I play a little bit more? All right, here we go.
Sure. Has gone, now the night has gone away.
Oh my God. I don't know if I can hear this whole time. This reminds me of an old.
That's a dude too. You have to remember.
I know he's really.
1981.
He's got some serious pipes. I'm gonna play all
12.
Yeah,
they were big. Yeah. They were big, and I remember they were big. It's an Australian band, right?
Oh my God! Wait. Ty Laurie is close. Should we give it to him? But Casey got the actual title.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to go with Casey.
Yeah,
Ty a pat on the back
because it was very close. Ty, you were really close, but Casey Relford, The One That You Love, is the correct title. That is Air Supply. Okay, here comes the next track. 3 seconds already.
I have no idea.
I can't believe that song.
But you know somebody's going to get it. Elvira. Dan Copeland got Elvira. Are we keeping track of the points right now?
So, right. The title is Elvira.
Yeah, and it's not the Oakland brothers, Elvira.
Elvira. Something like that.
Dan Copeland.
Elvira.
That's right.
Dan Copeland got both. He got a full point.
All right. Dan tied with Casey.
Damn.
Nice.
I don't know shit about this stuff, man. I thought Hall & Oates. I always thought the name of that band was Hall & Oates, like you're.
Yeah, you're like Hall & Oates.
You know, I mean, that's how much I know about this shit. Yeah.
Okay, here comes the next one. This is one of my favorites. All right, here we go.
Oh my God! Okay, that's.
Do it.
Is it like Styx or something like that?
Casey Relford got it. Greatest American Hero. And who's the artist?
Well, the artist is really difficult to get.
It is.
Nobody knows that dude.
Well, except me because I have this stupid song in my jukebox.
He's got a really bad last name.
He does. Greatest American Hero. Everybody's pulling out the Greatest American Hero. That's great.
Right. So then it was the Greatest American Hero, but the thing is that.
Believe it or not, very close. Not Mike Post, but that is very close. Mike Post is very close, but it's not it.
We should get Mike Post on the show.
That'd be fun. Well, that'd be really fun.
Yeah, we don't usually have musicians. We've had a couple.
Well, we had Jerry Buckner, right?
Was it Jerry Buckner, right?
Well, and Richie Knuckles is technically a musician, I guess.
Technically, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
See, they're not getting. I think we have to time box it.
Should we time box it? So that's Joe Scarberry, guys. No points on that, except for someone gets a half point for Believe It or Not theme from the Greatest American Heroes. Okay, here we go. Next.
I had such a crush on this chick. For
Me too. I totally did. I was like in 3rd grade. Here we go. We already gave a hint. That's gonna. Someone's. Oh yeah. Bronco Billy got Juice Newton. Half point.
Nice.
Yep. And the next person playing with Queen. I'm gonna give it to him. He knows what song it is. He just can't type it very fast. Of Hearts.
Yep, he got it.
He got it. Yeah. Play a little more to that one because this is a good song.
This is the part nobody likes.
I don't know. I like it. It's totally gonna get his flag, but who cares?
That will be fun. We talked over it.
Playing with the Queen of Hearts.
Yeehaw.
No one in it really smart.
Yep.
All right.
I have a story about this song, but I'm not telling it on the air.
Was it about some chick that you made out with in junior high or something?
Oh, no, it was in 3rd grade, man. It was 3rd grade. Okay, here we go.
3rd grade.
It was a dude.
It's a dude.
Yeah, it was a dude just singing that. But he was beautiful. Okay, let's move to the
All right, here we go. This is the next song. All right, here we go. Think that's enough?
Yeah, these get harder.
I've heard that fucking song a million times.
right.
Is that like Journey or?
Oh, you're close, but no. It's The Waiting by Tom
Journey.
Petty. Casey got the song.
Tom Petty. Oh, Tom Petty.
Yeah, Andy Ballman got the artist. So half point for Andy and a half point for Casey. All right, here comes the next one. This one gonna be a little bit tougher. What an awesome intro. Wow.
It almost sounds like it's going flat.
Those 16 seconds I just gave.
Oh my God,
man!
I don't know. You know, people say music is crap today, but it was worse then. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. We've had some good ones. This is a particularly how shall I say, diverse playlist tonight.
Yeah, I mean, 81. There was like some Kenny Rogers was in the top 10.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, he was sneaking in some country.
All right, I'm gonna play just a little bit more of this because nobody's getting it. This is really tough. Wow.
Nobody's gonna get this.
We're totally getting flagged for this song because we had to play too much of it.
Unless this is a open source song, then we don't have to worry about it.
Oh my God, this song is this. I don't even know this song. This was
copyright violation, man.
Yeah,
copyright violation. You guys are going to jail, man.
We get it all the time.
Yep.
And then they they monetize our video. That's all they do.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I wasn't making any money.
Oh, see, and Andy's like, I know this. All right, let's play a little bit more. God damn, we're gonna.
Short time for you and me. So fine, so good. We're on the road.
Not ZZ Top. Holy crap! I've already played like half the song. Come on, guys.
Yeah, I think just give it up.
All right, it's Gemini Dream by Moody Blues. Nobody gets it. Okay, the next song actually featured in Chasing Ghosts, the original cut, and one of my favorites. Here we go. I'll do it again.
That's it?
That's all I'm giving. That's all I'm giving it.
That's who the hell was that? Is that Aerosmith or something?
No, no. Keep guessing. Keep guessing. That's Billy Squier. Aaron Sanders steps in with Billy Squier, and Casey says best song ever. Squier, and it's The Stroke. Copeland gets the other half, so a half point to Mr. Aaron Sanders for Billy Squier, and a half point to Annie Baldwin for Billy Squier. So that's awesome. Play a little bit more of that song because it's freaking awesome.
Everybody, have you heard? If you're in the game, then the stroke's the word. Don't take no rhythm.
That's a good song. All right, here we go. The next one. That's all I'm playing.
Damn, we heard that a million times.
I've
heard it a million times, man. If I just had a couple more brain cells. I mean, the 80s was rough on me, man. It was rough on me. Man. I think that was one of the ones that didn't make it.
I had to ride a bike with no helmet.
Yeah, we rode in the back of the Ford 150 with a topper on the back with no seatbelts.
Nice.
Sticks is correct. Dan Copeland and Aaron gets On My Hands, but that's not the full title. So Aaron Sanders.
Too much time on my hands.
Too much time on my hands.
Oh yeah.
You got it. So Aaron, Too Much Time on My Hands, half point, and Dan Copeland gets Sticks, but there's a Y in that. Oh no, Aaron Sander got the whole thing. I didn't see that. He got it. Aaron, you get it, buddy. You get the full point. Yeah, so here we go. This is a good song, though. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. No one's gonna get this.
Is that Ghostbusters?
No, but you're
Symbol. Well, the genre, yeah, maybe close.
R&B. I mean, he's in the
R&B.
Right he's in the right category. Oh, not Michael Jackson. I'm playing a little bit more. We're totally gonna flag tonight.
When I came home,
Yeah.
Woo! You wouldn't make love to me. You went fast asleep.
Wow.
We played 30.
Sounds like Michael Jackson.
I know. We played 34 seconds of that song. Not YMCA. Oh my God, this is great. All right, I'll play a little bit more.
You wouldn't even talk to me. You say I'm so crazy.
I'm so crazy. Well, not Rockwell, but same label.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. He liked to tie up his girlfriends. There you go.
Oh, and he was a super freak.
Yes.
Rick James.
Yeah.
Andy Baldwin got it. Both of them. He gets a full point. Give it to me, baby. Rick James. Okay.
That was Super Freak?
No, but same artist. Yeah, same artist.
Give it
Rick
to me,
James, bitch. All right, here we go. Last song. This is the last song. No hints. Oh my God. Andy Baldwin. Full point. No one is going to get this. I'm going to go to the middle.
Sounds familiar.
Yep. No one is going to get this. It's on like their second greatest hits album.
Bananarama? No. No, Andy Baldwin got the band name.
Sweet.
ABBA.
ABBA.
It's an ABBA?
Yep. ABBA's
ABBA?
correct. We should give somebody a point just for the song name because it's Lindsey Buckingham. I'm just gonna throw out
I love Lindsey Buckingham. I don't know why.
I do too.
He's
freaking good. He's a good guitarist.
Bronco Billy, you're just like a part of the word. I think that's good enough.
Eugene Jarvis Blues by ABBA. I think Casey gets it.
No.
It's like half point.
Bronco said it was on and on. It's actually on and on and on. On and on and on.
Well, I'll give it to Bronco then. He gets
Which is what our show is doing. We got to get to that interview.
Oh my God, we really do. Where the hell's Dan anyway?
Don't worry about it.
All right. So let's thanks for playing. It's Back to the Juke, and we're gonna I guess we're gonna move on to the next section. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm into it.
All right. welcome to the show, Mr. Eugene Jarvis. But he's already been welcomed, so this is sort of the third or fourth welcoming, to the show. But
hey, thank you.
Thank you. This is the part where we grill you about, the industry and why you've kept it alive so long, and what kept you to, what drove you to stay in the, what insanity drove you to, to go into, working for Williams, and then, now you're at Raw Thrills. Tell us a little bit about your arcade origin story. How did you get interested in games?
It's funny. I've always been a gamer. As a kid, I loved to play chess. Actually, I was a big chess player, and so I was always trying to. Chess is kind of a mental murder of someone. It's allegedly a pure skill game. So it's kind of like the, a mental, combat, and I don't know. It's if you can really slaughter somebody in chess, you can just completely humiliate them, and it's a great feeling. And so very competitive. I love playing. I played tennis. I played soccer. I played baseball, football, all kinds of things. But later on, I kind of got it. I grew up. There weren't video games when I was a kid, so. Although I did see, I grew up out in Silicon Valley, and as a kid, I would hang around Stanford University, and because they had some weird shit going on there, and I guess some crazy guys had taken. There's this computer game called Space War, which, in my mind, actually is maybe the first real video game. I think it was done in the early '60s. In Boston at I think it was MIT. Is that correct?
Sounds right to me, but then I know I got a few things right tonight. So
I forget the guy who did it, but brilliant. Probably one of the most brilliant games ever created for computers, and it was like the first one. And kind of a combat, player versus player combat of a couple spaceships and gravity,
1962
hyperspace, and all kind of stuff.
1962, Steve Russell in collaboration with Martin Grates. And Wayne went. It's three guys, so
yeah. Brilliant game. And before Pong or any of that crap, or at least Ralph Baer's ripoff of Pong, or Dolan Bushnell's double ripoff of Pong. Anyway, this game was. It was an amazing game. Very, very, and so somebody had stuck a coin slot on this thing and stuck it in the Stanford University student union. And made this really cool fiberglass camera. They call it the Galaxy game or something. I guess it was their, in the long tradition of video game ripoffs. It's take Space War and change the name to Galaxy Game. Now it's a completely new thing. And they had some $50,000 mainframe computer that was running this whole thing. It made no economic sense whatsoever, but it was sure cool to watch the funny thing is I was always so crowded and all college students and shit, and I was afraid to ever actually play this game. I thought they were gonna beat me up or something. So I would just kind of hang out and watch, and see what they're doing. And so I kind of got it. That was kind of cool, a little data point. But I really got into pinball games later on, and I played the early Pong game. But that was Pong is cool, but it's after few days. It's not a lot of depth there. So I got into playing pinball. That was kind of the cool things. And they got it, and then that was my real love because it really had kind of the depth and complexity. And then the video game craze hit, and it just holy crap. Really, for me, the game was Space Invaders, and that was just wow, what they could do with, all of a sudden they had characters, they had some form of, I don't know if there was really any AI per se in there, but it seemed like they were little guys fighting you and trying to kill you and stuff. And so that was it. And then they came out with the arcade version of Space War, and that was super fun. I guess they called it Space Wars because that was another totally different thing. And that was a great game. And so you could play Space War in an arcade cabinet. And that was, really fun. So I got hooked on video games in the late 70s.
Sweet. And so and when you tell us about applying for a job at Williams.
Actually, I started in the industry. I worked for Atari back in when I got out of school, and this was in 1977.
So did you work? Just to interrupt really quickly? Were you like one of the early employees with Woz and Jobs then too?
Those guys had actually left.
Okay.
They had left. I don't know if he ever actually worked at Atari, but
he was definitely working for Atari, but he wasn't working for Atari.
No, I guess he did. I mean, maybe he did. And Jobs again, the place was really crazy, kind of a crazy place. Nolan Bushnell was a really interesting guy, very, very very creative, and not great. He wasn't into like managing things and shit like that. So it really was a fun place to work. But they were starting up this electronic pinball division at the time, and so I was like one of the few guys doing electronic pinball games, and most of the other coders were doing videos. And the weird thing was, this is how crazy things were. And those days, you'd write your code on. This is before they had like terminals and stuff. So you wrote your code down on a piece of paper, and then they had a girl that would type your program into the computer.
Oh, that's brutal.
And which is kind of cool, man. So like,
it depends on the girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Well, maybe, but it was like the weirdest thing was like, it was like dudes. It was like.
You're like a secretary for your...
When men were like men, like typing on a keyboard was not a manly thing. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like men could not. I mean, that was bullshit. I mean, that was men couldn't freaking like type and shit like that. I mean, it's you know what I mean? I mean,
wow. Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally sexist. That's freaking awesome.
It was bullshit. So
exactly,
so we had,
it's
like,
bullshit. It's bullshit.
And so they had this girl who entered all the code. I mean, she worked more than like the rest 10 of us. So the coolest thing about it was you'd write your code, on a piece of paper and give it to the, I don't know, they called them key punch girls or whatever, but gave it to the girl, and then you went and played pinball for like an hour. So it's like, because it'd take that long for your code to get into the computer and run or some crap. Exactly how all this shit worked, I forget. But the cool thing about it, you got to play, and like anytime you changed your code, you could go play pinball for an hour. So it's like, I mean,
change your code a lot.
A better job, So that was pretty cool. So
sounds like my current job, except for not without anybody doing stuff. I just take that break, and so. But
yeah, sorry, exactly. And I mean, now you got the internet, so I mean,
yeah.
Unfortunately, it was a really fun work environment and everything, and the places that are like really fun and everything tend to like go broke, and the pinball division, we weren't too good about making the games not catch on fire and stuff like that, so. It wasn't successful. We made some, I thought, really good games, some fun games, but they're very rare because not too many of them are, not charcoal briquettes now. But so I decided, and I was working with this guy named Steve Ritchie, a great pinball designer.
You may have heard about him.
And he had gone into Williams, and so I was going, and he called me up and go, Jarvis, get your ass out here, man. We're going to change the world. We're going to change the world with this shit, man.
Change the world.
And so I went to Chicago and did pinball games, and then like I say, my favorite pinball game I worked on was a thing called Firepower, which is like this 3-ball game.
That's a great game.
That was really cool.
Great game.
That was really cool. And then from there I worked on Defender.
Sweet. Now, Defender, a lot of people say is really the first video game, the sort of first real like innovative video game that Williams put out. They had done some other things to try and compete with Space Invaders, but Defender was really groundbreaking in a lot of ways. So. It
was kind of cool. It was kind of a blank page, it was kind of like I got, it's like we were really getting excited about Space Invaders and asteroids and all this shit. It's like, we got to do a video game. It's like too much fun now. And the other cool thing is you didn't need to have like a designer, as much as I love Steve Ritchie, he was kind of the boss, And so it's a way of, getting rid of the boss. Who doesn't want to get rid of their boss and become their own boss? So it's like, okay, now the programmer, and all programmers, I think, are megalomaniacs, at the heart. They want to take over the world. They want to, make, all your bitcoins are us, or whatever it is. And all your base are us. What is that one?
All your base are belong to us. That's a throwback. All your base are belong to us.
Yeah, all your base are belong to us. That's
yeah.
Programmers want that, So it's
yeah.
like, okay, now I'm in charge, and so it was like, let's make a fucking video game, and none of us had ever had anything to do with it. So we had like a hardware guy who'd never designed, a piece of video hardware. I was a chief bottle washer, programmer, game designer. I had never done a video game. It was the incompetence of the world, doing a video game. And but we said, we said, okay, what's going to be cool? Well, man, how about color? Color.
Color.
It's the future, man. It's the future, dude.
Color.
And so he's like, how many colors do you need? Apple, I think they had 4 colors.
Exactly, right?
That's bogus.
You want
That's
16.
bogus.
16.
And so it was like, maybe like 8, maybe, okay, well, let's think really futuristic. 16. You never would need any more than 16 colors, right?
Right.
And plus it was kind of half a byte, which we called a nibble. A nibble was 4 bits. And so it was like, okay, 16 colors, this will be the system of the future. You won't ever need more 16 colors. And, and then the game it was very painful coming up with the game because, didn't know shit about video games.
Oh my God.
Make one. And it was, like pinball, when you're doing pinball, it's like you have no matter how bad of a program you put on the thing, it is still a pinball machine.
Right. You have a set of
balls and a drain.
Right. You have a set of physical rules.
You have the framework is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you have something. You can put the most heinous code in there, but it's still a pinball game at the end of the day. A video game, there's no limit to how horrible a video game can be.
Yeah.
It's just unbounded. Negativity, and it's like a black hole is negative infinity is how bad you can be.
Right.
And so I did a few really bad games and kind of tried to make a bad version of Space Invaders and made a bad version of Asteroids and somehow combined those.
Oh my.
And and I listened to a lot of friends of mine. And my buddy Steve Ritchie from Pinball, he came by and he was like giving me a lot of advice on Defender and stuff. And so I came up with the name Defender because I thought it was cool. Because I thought, when you're doing a video game, the whole idea of a video game is a kind of an excuse to create mindless mayhem and kill tons of aliens or whatever. You're just trying to kill shit, because you're an American male, and so you're killing shit, but then it was like, okay, but that's kind of passe. So you can't be just like mindlessly killing things. So you have to have a reason. So you're defending something,
Right.
And then you can mindlessly kill shit, and it's cool. You're like Clint Eastwood or something,
So
you're Dirty Harry, you're Rambo, all that shit, you're hero all of a sudden. You're not some psycho murderer, So, so that was kind of the name, and so I think I'd been doing like 6 months, and I was getting ready. My bosses were getting ready to fire me, and
wait,
so I need to get something.
Why would they want to fire you? You're doing good so far, right?
Because I didn't have shit on the screen, man. And so I was like, okay, I got to get Defender. I got to have something to defend, right?
Right.
And so I made those little guys, I don't even know if people notice them, but the little guys that walk around on the bottom of the Defender, and I guess you're defending them, and I guess you notice them when they get killed.
Yeah.
And so I made them, and they actually walk around on the terrain. You know, so you have to kind of sit there and watch them, and they walk. You know, it's like one of those little subtle things. And so I did. You know, I spent a couple of weeks doing that. You know, and the management comes down and says, "Hey, let's see your game, man." And then I go, "Oh, dude, I made so much progress. You know, check this out. You know, these little guys walking around." And you know, they go, "What? I don't see anything." Like, no, see that little guy there? He's like,
he's walking.
He's got 8 pixels, man. He walks around. You know? And
he walks.
So that didn't go over too well. But somehow, you know, we got into. So I think my buddy Steve Ritchie, he encouraged me to have like this flying thing. So we wanted to get this feeling of flying, and to really have with this horizontal motion, you know, have this flying. So that was a big emphasis in Defenders, having the feeling of flying and giving this rush of flying, and then it was okay, you're defending these guys, you're flying, and then we threw in the reverse thing, which actually I originally just wanted to go left to right, like scramble, if you can believe that.
Sure.
And because it was just easier, you know, it was more code. Like you go to in reverse, what the fuck? You know,
exactly, you're gonna reverse the whole other button.
That's 2 weeks' work, man, and a button and shit. You know, like. But my buddy Steve Ritchie, who God bless him, he said, "Jarvis, you gotta fucking reverse the motherfucker." You know, like
wow,
you gotta reverse this shit. You know,
Steve
like,
Ritchie's got a terrible vocabulary.
Because I didn't want to get fired, so and he wasn't even my boss, but at least I had something, you know. So I threw it in there, and you could reverse. And then I was like, you know what? I needed an enemy. Like,
right.
You think I would have? I thought about that, like 7 months. It's like 7 months in the project. You think I would have thought about that maybe like in the first week? But so it's like you had to defend these guys. We got the guys out there. We got the ship. We can reverse. We can fly around. And then like, okay, we'll have these these lander dudes that will come down and fuck with your astronauts and suck them up. And it's kind of like, I think there was a movie. It was like the first Star Trek movie or something.
Yes.
They had this thing, like this spaceship like melded with some other spaceship or something. And V'ger, right, V'ger. And so this was kind of inspired by that. So these things would meld together and become like this mutant thing that would then be super evil. And so that was kind of the basis of the whole thing. And threw in a few other enemies just for fun, to kind of create just variety, and then had in order to get people keep moving, keep the waves moving along, we did the baiter thing where the baiters came out to kind of like harass you and fuck with you and, keep that tension going. Because as you kill off everything in a wave, natural tendency would be to get very boring because like there's nothing happening because you got two guys left, and so you have these baiters that come out to, get you, kind of kick you in the ass and like, hey, better get moving here. We're gonna fucking kill you, and so kind of keeps the pace going and everything. So that was kind of the basis of the gameplay. But then I had this kid with me. His name's Sam Dicker, my co-programmer on Defender, and he generated some of those awesome explosions that really made that game. And
those explosions are unbelievable.
Yeah, it was like the first real, and it's come to today they call them particle effects. We just call them blowing up shit. And it was just great pixel explosions and just amazing stuff where things would. And the coolest thing about them, if you ever play Defender a lot, is like it depends on where you shoot the thing, how it'll blow. It'll blow up depending on where the bullet hits it, and all the physics of it all, and so you get this like infinite variety of things blowing up. Never the same explosion. Like if you play Asteroids, the ship always explodes in the same way. In fact, it always, like if you get killed and you're facing 73 degrees west or something, immediately your ship translates and blows up standing straight up and down. That's Asteroids. and it's kind of bullshit, you know. It's kind of bullshit, you know. But you know, it fooled like 100,000, you know, arcades. So I mean, it's hard to, you know, 200,000 games later, I guess they won, but you know, so Defender, it's the explosions are always different depending on exactly what happens. No bogus canned explosions. It's all on the fly physics, and that's kind of one of the beauties of the game. There's just the sheer fun of just ripping through shit with your laser, you know.
Oh, you know, it's yeah. Oh my God, that's pretty freaking cool. Mark, do you have a question for this gentleman? I think you have.
So you know the way the bullets are shot, I mean, or whatever you want to call them, whenever you're shooting at an enemy, I think it's very, even today, that the way that it sort of goes off in a straight line and it sort of persists, that's very unique to this game. Like, who came up with that, and you know, how did you sell that?
That was kind of like, I mean, that was one of my little nuggets, you know. Yeah, I was trying to make a laser, you know. My original idea was like a laser beam or something, but the problem is laser beams are kind of like instantaneous, you know?
Yes.
And so it's then you lose all the feeling of like, you want to have like trajectories and time delays and all that good stuff. You know, you just don't want to just instantly kill things, because then it's not, you can't really, you want to like anticipate where they're going to be and where the bullet's going to be, you know. All that physics is really fun, and you don't want to just like instantly kill things. So made it kind of like, it was kind of a bullet, but they kind of had this laser-like tail on it that kind of a smoke trail that it left behind, and there was like some cool random thing that kind of ate up the tail that kind of looked like smoke, and had a special color cycling routine that kind of made it look, you know, different cool colors, and the tip of the laser was like this hot white flash kind of thing. And so there's a million little details in that game, that little crafting, like, you know, when you're flying, there's like a star field in the background, and the stars kind of jump around a little bit, kind of like twinkle, and they also scroll at half the rate as the planet scrolls, so you get this feeling of depth. So you have kind of this 3D feeling, you know, and you know, especially like it's late at night and maybe a little bit stoned. It was really quite amazing.
I love it. I noticed that Space Invaders Frenzy seems to have, like, when you're shooting, it kind of has that same kind of feel with the way you know, your lasers are coming up and hitting those guys. Was that kind of a fun thing to be able to go back and like make your own version of Space Invaders?
Yeah, that was really cool, you know, and I can't believe those guys let us do that. You know, got away with that shit. But there's actually elements of like missile command in there. There's this power up where you can shoot like missile command, like missiles out there, and then you actually they have these bomb things that are truly like the your missile command. You know, when they detonate and they kind of widen out. You know,
right.
Your missiles actually, so it's kind of like, but I guess we have like these bombs, and then if you shoot the bomb, it becomes like a missile command explosion and like blows out and takes out a lot of the invaders. So it was interesting. We kind of like mashed up a few of the classic games, you know, and it was just the brilliant idea. You know, it's funny. We were starting out. We wanted to do the Space Invaders. And we started out, you know, just like made Space Invaders. You press a button, you know, and the bullet comes out.
Yeah.
And we just realized, like, man, this is kind of slow.
Yeah. I think Space Invaders is probably one of the most boring games
kind of like the
ever
classic,
made.
It's always it's like a danger. Like, you have this nostalgia, you know, like,
right.
I played this game. Like, Pole Position, man, it was fucking, man, that was amazing. It was like fucking the coolest game ever. You know, like, I need to go to the classic arcade and play Pole Position, you know, like, and then you go over there, you know, and you're like, oh, it's so cool, you know, and you get your quarter in there, and then you start it up, and you drive, and like, and then you go around the first corner, and boom, you blow up, you know, like, what the fuck, you know, like, you know, like you hit the billboard or something, you know, like,
right.
and that game was a bitch from hell, man. To drive that thing, it was just a painful game. But it's weird, like, in your mind, it was like the most coolest thing ever. And then you actually go back and have to play that game, you know, 40 years later, and and it's like that game sucked. You know, I mean, and of course, you know, a lot of the classic arcade games, you know, we think of them, you know, we have this nostalgic vision, and they somehow have become a lot better than they really were, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But so you got to kind of watch out for that. But so the Space Invaders, which I love the game, and it still is a great game, obviously, but it's a little bit slow paced for today's people, you know, today's ADHD generation, and you know, Adderall, Generation Adderall. You know,
I'm really that's it.
So we needed to, you know, hype it up, you know, and we had like a pair of these. We did this Jurassic Park game that had these big machine guns on it. And it was like, hey, let's just throw those things on here. See what happens. It's like, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, man. It's kind of like, I mean, it was very similar to when, like, Robotron, when they, you know, I got that firing, you know, and got that firing joystick going, and it was like, holy shit, you know, and it's like, this is fucking cool, you know, and so it was just, that was the magic, you know, get that when we put those two machine guns on that game, it's just like, this is the way Space Invaders should be played, you know, and then, of course, then it was too easy, so we had to have multiple grids of Space Invaders. Then we put, like, these giant Space Invaders that were kind of like, thing from Asteroids, where, like, if you shoot a giant Space Invaders, it turns into 4 little medium-sized Space Invaders, and you shoot those, they each turn into 4 little Space Invaders. So you get kind of this multiplicative effect, like the asteroids, when you shoot the asteroids, they keep breaking into big, you know, multiple pieces. So kind of had a little inspiration of the asteroids we threw in there too. So it was, you know, it's like, but it turned into just this crazy game, super intense, and it's kind of, you know, we might have made it a little too hard. It kind of just wipes people out and takes their money, but I guess that's kind of like what video games are about, you know.
Right.
All right, I'm going to tell you. Good plan. I'm going to tell you a very brief.
Monetize, baby. You got to monetize.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a very brief story about Defender, and then we're going to move on to the next question. Cause,
okay.
When I was a kid, we went to a little place called Carboni's Pizza here in town, and then I asked my dad, I would like a quarter. You know, I was like 10 years old, maybe. You know, let's see. And then he said, or maybe 11. And he said, yeah, I'll give you a quarter and you can go play that game. And I said, great. So I go put it in there, and I'm super excited to play this game. It's called Defender. Put the quarter in, lost my money in 30 seconds. No joke. And then I was like, well, I better not go back there. So I sat and pretended to play Defender for another like 5 minutes so that my dad wouldn't think that I wasted the quarter. You know, that's a hard game.
Yeah, that's cool, right?
It's a hard game, but I have the game now. I have it, and I get to play it for free. So my next question is, tell us about the progression from Defender to Stargate, and a little bit about the VidKids. I think Mark might have this question in his arsenal as well. But what went on where you went on to create these other games, Stargate and Robotron?
Okay, so the Stargate thing. You know, and Defender just turned out to be this huge hit. You know, I mean, it's like I had no idea, you know, being the first game and everything, but it just somehow people just mesmerized by this kind of world out there that it was more than one screen, which was, I don't know if that had been done yet. So it was like you had this kind of real world, and there was shit happening, you know, out there with the radar screen and stuff, and kind of mesmerized people for a while. But so it was like, you know, I think we were. And, you know, we were like just, and I think at the time, Williams just started hiring, like, you know, they got, well, I mean, you take, you know, a couple stoner programmers and they do Defender, like, Jesus, we'll just hire 100 stoner programmers and we'll, you know, we'll have 100 Defenders. You know, like, I mean, it's not that hard, you know what I mean? Like, and so, but, you know, unfortunately, you know, it just kind of was a lot of people getting stoned. And so we didn't really get much done that first year. So I think it was about in July or something. And we were kind of like burnt out. Me and my buddy, this buddy of mine, Larry Demar, we kind of had worked in pinball and stuff. And, you know, we were kind of like, man, we got tired of this place. And so we were like, let's buzz out of this joint and do our own thing. And then one of the guys goes, oh, no, you can't quit. You have to, you know, we need a game like in 3 months. Like, It's like, okay, I guess what are we doing? I guess we're making a sequel to Defender. So that's Stargate was like the 4-month game, and but it was kind of cool in that we could go back to the game and try to you always like you go back you always want to fix all the mistakes and do all the things right, and I think we like doubled the real time performance of the system and got 3 times so many objects out there. And so it was fun. It was when we put in the Stargate thing, and which is kind of cool. It allowed you to warp ahead, so you could like bypass the easy waves if you were a skilled player, and so it was a lot of fun, and that so we did that one, and then it was like, okay, then we had to come up with the next game, and I guess turned out Robotron was that game.
That's fantastic. So.
Did you make Robotron by just having the family walk around first, and then you could show somebody that it was just a family walking around, or?
We did. That was obviously we kind of ripped that out from Defender, having something to protect. No, the family was one of the later things actually. It was kind of, but I love the mechanic. It's like because so often in those games in that era, you just killed things. You killed. And so it was cool to have something that you're not killing, that's like your buddy that you want to protect, and it adds this, you get all these conflicting goals. And Robotron was kind of the ultimate kind of like, throw you, like kind of in some ways the ultimate game of that era, where it was like, Space Invaders, you had shit that kind of came down from the top, you're down the bottom, the shit comes down from the top, you kill it, And it's like, okay, where do you go from there? Like, what's the next escalation of that? And it was like, okay, well, shit, you're in the middle, and shit comes from all sides simultaneously. It was like that's fucked up, And so it was like how to explode people's brain cells, and blow their minds, totally overload them. So you have like you are in the middle of the shit. It's coming from all sides, and then now you have to not only survive and kill this stuff, but, then you have to go around and rescue this family to get your points, and, all kinds of crazy enemies, some things that are breeding and spawning, and just a million grunts coming at you. And so Robotron was just kind of a crazy game. That game this is amazing. We did that game in 6 months. And that included an entire new set of hardware. We actually did from what I know, might be the first graphics co-processing chip, which was a pixel, what they call a bullet chip, which is kind of like, it blew out the pixels for the characters on the screen, using a bitmap architecture, which is become the standard architecture, today. And so it was kind of one of the early graphics co-processing chips. So that was cool. But I mean, we did all this shit in 6 months. I don't know how we did all this stuff in 6 months, But somehow it was just like we had to do it. We're running into the company was running out of games. They were going to fire everybody. So we were just exclusively doing. VidKids was exclusively doing games for Williams, and they call us up like, hey, if your game's not ready in 2 months, we're gonna have to fire everybody. Just want to let you know.
Thanks a lot.
It's like thanks. It'll be on you, man. Take care.
Nice.
See you later, man. I'm going down to the Bahamas, but you guys better work your ass off.
Yeah.
End of line. Oh my God. That must have been really difficult. Like, incredible pressures from the game manufacturers for you to produce something. Yeah. And then when you did, like something like 2084 or Defender, these were huge hits. So they must have kept the company afloat for some time.
Yeah. So and then finally they had some internal teams, and they came out with Joust and all that stuff.
Joust is awesome.
Sinistar, which was also a really cool game.
Yeah.
And you have that new intro too, I noticed. Run, coward.
Right. Yeah. Let me ask you.
Those are the other 2 games I have next to the Stargate.
Yeah. Let me ask you a quick
quick
question.
I got kind of a hard stop here.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
Collect, but we can, like, if you want to continue to some other time, I'd love to.
No, we can do that. Yeah, that's fine. Why don't you tell us then a quick story of how how you've maintained your career in the industry, from Defender to Raw Thrills, and then give us a little bit of what you're doing, today to make this a successful business.
It's kind of. I know at some point, people always say, well, why don't you get into console games, or why don't you do mobile, why don't you do other shit? It's like, I don't know, you kind of like have to decide who you are and what you are in life, at some point. And I love the arcade. I love doing arcade games. And so that's just me, and whether there's one arcade or a million arcades, that's what I'm going to be doing. And, so once you you find out what you're doing, then you figure out a way to do it. And I guess probably we had some great successes. It's eventually VidKids, we did some great stuff, and it kind of went our separate ways. And actually, I came back to Williams, and with NARC and Smash TV and Cruising series of games. And the problem is, I kind of had this problem, like the companies I worked for kept going broke, and Atari kind of went broke, and then sadly Williams, had a few near-death experiences, but in the early 2000s they shut down their arcade division, and then a few years later they went bankrupt. So I had to, do my own thing, well, if you want to be in the arcade business, it's like, you got to do your own thing almost, because no one, at that point, Xbox and PlayStation were just like destroying arcades. No one even knew there was even a future of anything. But there's some really cool thing about the immediacy and the kind of casual and instinctive play in the arcade, and I just loved it. And I felt like, there must be some market out there for arcade games. And so me and a few guys from Midway decided to try to keep it going, and somehow through hook or crook, and it took us about 3 years to get our first game done, which is pretty scary, but we eventually persevered, and lo and behold, and that game, I guess, was Target Terror. I don't know if anybody remembers that one, but it's kind of one of my favorites. And then we did, Fast and Furious, and we hooked up the guys that did Playmakers, the guys that did Buck Hunter games, and we've done a lot of motorcycle games, superbikes,
and you picked up Cruisin' World again.
Exactly, and we have Cruisin' Blast now. We've got we did Walking Dead. We did a great Terminator game. We did quite a we did Guitar Hero arcade. We had all kinds of crazy stuff, and
question is, are you loving it?
Yeah, we actually were having a great time. It's actually a great time in the arcades doing kind of these mega games, which are kind of it's kind of Jurassic era of the arcade. We're like these huge arcades, Dave and Buster's, like megaplexes, and we're doing like these games bigger than we ever made them, and it's kind of exciting. It's almost like movie theatrical kind of experiences.
All right, I know you got a hard stop, but let me give you one last question from the audience. Where did you get the name Raw Thrills?
Raw Thrills, that was fun. Okay, so we're starting the company. That's always like the problem. Like, why don't you get a name of a stupid company? It's like everything's taken. It's like let's call it. And I remember there was this company called Rare. I know you remember Rare.
Rare, man. They made a lot of great games.
Great stuff, right? And they did GoldenEye. I remember GoldenEye. That was like incredible. I mean, that was like the James Bond shit. I mean, that was, and they did a lot of other great stuff. And so I was like, well, we want to be the next Rare, so what's better than Rare? Raw, right?
Raw, nice.
So we're Raw, then and we look online and shit, and I think Raw was already like WWE and all that shit,
Yeah.
And so Raw was taken, oh shit, we're screwed now, And then we had 1,000 really bad names, and I don't know, somehow just somewhere along the line I just came up with Raw Thrills, how about Raw Thrills? It was kind of like, and it's kind of sexual, I guess, and it's like, and okay, we just like, okay, whatever, I think people were just tired, like, okay, and then and the rawthrills.com was available, so we registered the name, and we got the name, and then we like call up. We're trying to get like insurance, and like we call up the insurance brokerage, like hey, we're a new company, we want to get insurance, and like, what's your name? And I was like, Raw Thrills, and then it was like, click.
It's not like you said,
oh my God,
Thrills.
That's hilarious.
I know, exactly, but it was like, click, I mean, no one would give us insurance. It's like, kind of realized, like, maybe that was kind of a stupid name. But here we are, 15 or 17 years later, if you can believe it. I feel ancient at this point, but we're still going, so we're having fun. So, yeah, and let's do a part B here.
Yeah, let's do that. I think it'd be great. I mean, it's been great having you on the show. Again, this is Eugene Jarvis. He's been with us for the last almost 2 hours here now. So thanks for being on the show. This is Arcade Radio. You can follow Eugene on at Raw Thrills on Facebook, and we'll have him on the show again because I mean we have just scratched the tip of the iceberg, and it's been fantastic talking to you tonight. I mean. It's just great stories, story after story, and I know this could go on for ages. So we definitely need a part B, so to speak. Mark, you have any final parting words for this gentleman?
In Robotron, I noticed there were multiple dads and multiple moms. Are they Mormon?
Mormon.
I mean, that's interesting. I guess they don't do that anymore. But, I think it's more of a millennial thing now.
Oh, yeah. So it's open. It's an open thing. Got it.
Exactly.
So follow Arcade Radio on SoundCloud. We're on YouTube live every other Thursday and sometimes in between. So check us out. That's Arcade Radio, RCADE radio.com or Facebook.com/Arcade Radio or YouTube.com/Arcade Radio. And we're on Twitter even. But I don't know if we tweet so much. But at least, we don't tweet very much. Anyhow, check us out, and thanks for being on the show, Eugene, and we'll see you the next time.
It's been fantastic. This is always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure, Adam, and Mark, and everybody else, man.
Yeah,
it's been a thrill.
Audience is raving. Best show yet. Eugene rules. Best stream ever. So thanks for being on the show. We'll talk to you.
Thank you.
In the near future.
See ya.
Good night.
See ya.
That was a lot of fun,
nice.
Man.
That dude is awesome.
I'm hitting the dial tone.
What?
I need a couple. I'm not even going off the air. I'm too excited.
That was so good.
That was super fun. He's got to be on the show again.
Yeah, he's a natural. Did you have the recording going before we went live?
I sure did.
Oh yeah, some sweet conversations before we went live.
Yeah, so
we'll put some guy is like just a legend.
Yeah, we'll put some tidbits in, on the if you're a subscriber to our iTunes channel or SoundCloud, you're in for a treat because we're gonna put a little extra before the show. I didn't get everybody's questions in, but man, this was a lot of fun, and thanks for everybody in the chat for hanging out tonight. This was super great. We had a great competition in What's in the Juke, and I think he really thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, he was into it. He was really digging into those brain cells.
Yeah, even though I don't think he got a single song, but we're not going to fault him for that.
Yeah, no way.
No. And I had different pictures of him up all night on the stream. So if you were watching on YouTube, you got some fun pictures of Eugene up there. But yeah, that was a good time, man. I can't believe Dan didn't chime in. I'm a little disappointed. He picked up the phone for the first time, and then boom, nothing. Now, I don't know if you guys know or not, but I met Lamar at the last MGC. He happened to be there.
Lamar was his co-conspirator
exactly.
with Vid Kids?
Yeah, absolutely.
I see.
And I invited him to be on the show, but he's a little bit shy about podcasts.
I see. Well, we can always track him down at a convention or something.
Having somebody on a podcast, I think there's a lot of people that have podcasts, but we've been very lucky to have some fun guests.
Yeah, we get grade A caliber guests a lot of time. I don't know why, but I mean, good job, Adam. Because I'm not that good at getting them.
We've had you've done your fair share,
but
but
I got Preston. Really, that's it.
But here's the thing: is that
and Adam. I mean Aaron.
It can't hurt to just call somebody and say, "Hey, look, do the show."
And Casey, really, I called him and Danny.
And when I told Eugene about the format of the show, I'm like, he's like, "Hey, do you just need me for an hour? What do you need me for?" I said, "Well, look, we do the show from, this time to this time, and we kind of like you to co-host because you can chime in." And I think he actually had a good time. He must have had to go home to his wife. He was at the office still.
Yes, sitting where he works all day.
Right. He's probably like, "Fuck, I want to go home." So, but yeah, just awesome. It was fun. And we got Aaron Sanders is saying we need to schedule Brian Collin. That would be fun, right?
Yeah. We could use the same questions over again.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Brian, how did you come up with a defender?
Okay, well, we'll change some words.
All right, guys. I think that pretty much does it for tonight. Yeah, thanks for listening in. We had a great participation in the chat tonight. I'm really, really glad to have you guys aboard. We'll do another show in 2 weeks from today. It's pronounced colon. I got it. So we'll
Colin.
I'll make sure.
Oh, that's right. Aaron asked him, "So how do you say your name? Is this Colin?" He goes, "No, it's colon." And it's like,
okay.
How dare you ask? Good times.
All right. So that was fun. All right, guys. That sort of does it for us tonight, but thanks for tuning in.